Now I'm recording.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm recording. So when Daryl subbed in for you about a month ago, we were sitting here and it was after a big party. Mm-hmm. We recorded in the dark because we were so tired. And I never hit record. And we recorded like a 30-minute show.
And then you were like, oh.
And I went, I didn't hit record.
He's like, talked.
God. So we had to do it again. Thank God, though, because the first one was horrible. When I record with him, it's never as good.
Well, I mean.
It is what it is.
He's your husband. So
I know.
It's hard to make an what do we call him? An honorary Uggan. What do we call him?
Ugganon.
Yeah. You can't. They can't replace an Ugg.
It's true.
You can try.
He tries so hard.
And I appreciate that.
And he only does it when I beg him to do it because I'm like, I really want new content. I don't want to like have nothing. So can you just sit in or whatever? And he's like, yeah. And so he tries. He's like, he's looking things at phone to, to bring up topics or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 619.
Oh.
Really quick, happy birthday, producer Dub.
Oh,
his birthday is the 1st, but so it was a while. It was a couple weeks ago. But
how do I not remember this?
His daughter was visiting, so we did Father's Day, birthday, everything all at once. So it's an insane weekend. We're not going to recap it today. We'll do it another time. But finally, he's a year older than me again because he always likes to go, we're the same age for 2 weeks. I'm like, we are not, sir. God, enough with you. God. Anyway, so speaking of elderly, really quick, I just read this on
it's Daryl's birthday. She's like, speaking of elderly. Wow.
Ouch. This is kind of sad, but not. Rosalind Carter, Jimmy Carter's wife. She's 95 and she has dementia.
Oh God.
What was that?
Nothing. I just knocked off. I'm being awkward.
Oh.
What else?
You're just so shocked that a 95-year-old woman,
God.
A 95-year-old woman has dementia.
Yeah. I was like, wow, is that even a thing at 95? I mean,
she continues to live happily at home with her husband. She was a big advocate of mental health. And I thought that was really I didn't know that. I didn't know she was an advocate.
I did not either. In fact, as a matter of fact, I didn't know she was still alive. But
well, the Carters are goals. That's all I know. They are goals.
Gracious. And we talked about this last week. Apparently so is Clint Eastwood.
That is true.
And he's old as
he is an older man. So happy birthday as well, producer Dub. Enjoy your golden years with a young bride. But I'm very happy he's around.
Daryl. Yeah, I'm happy.
And you know what I really freaking hate is the dude is aging nicely.
Who, your husband?
Yes.
Well, he's a man.
I know, and it bugs my life.
They all do. It's not fair at all.
So we had talked earlier about how he has the worst skills when it comes to photographing me or anybody for that matter.
Okay.
So we were in the car and I saw myself in my rear, the side view because he was driving. And I go, I think I'm going to get a chin lift.
God, I swear to God, Daryl could write a book on the conversations you guys have in the car.
And he doesn't say anything because he's like, this is new intel. So he's like, I don't know how to process because you've never talked about chin lifts before. And I said, well, I've done some research and I don't need a lower facelift. I only need a chin lift.
Okay.
And I can do smart lipo, which is very strategic liposuction. It gives you more of a jawline. It removes the little wobble under the fat.
Oh yeah, the gobbler.
Yeah, and it's like $3,000, which is a lot, but they have financing. But in the world of plastic surgery or whatever, pretty affordable when you consider.
I agree. Considering if it does what it promises to do.
Right.
Priceless.
And I mean, even though it was a bad angle, I'm like, well, that is my face. That is my chin.
I know. You sound like my friend Veronica. She's like, Stephanie, I know what you look like and you know what you look like. Why do you always do this when we look at pictures? I'm like, all right.
You know what I do?
What are you saying?
Are you saying to come to peace with it?
Yeah, just come to peace with the fact that you're ugly and you have 6,000 chins.
You don't have 6,000 chins.
I have more chins than a Chinese phone book. I'm sorry. If that's racist, Daryl can cut it out.
No, I don't think it's racist, is it?
I don't know. A friend of mine used to say it all the time, and I just thought it was so funny. And then it kind of stuck. I started saying it.
I don't even know
We'll let Deb
anymore.
decide.
He'll be like, I'm leaving it in. You're fine. And he's like, and why do you make me sound like I'm dumb? And I'm like, because that's how everybody talks when they're talking about a man.
That's true.
They go,
so
that's what
true.
they do.
I know.
It's not anything. Anyway, Yeah, so Rosalind Carter, wouldn't it be crazy if she passed first? After Jimmy? Jimmy's like 100.
He is. I think he just celebrated his 100th
Yeah,
birthday.
and she's 95, man.
I mean, she's like, well, I'm a spring chicken compared to you,
She's
dude.
like, and I don't even know any different now because I'm in dementia, so I don't even know. I could be 5 for all I know.
We're all so afraid. When I say we are all, me and Jerry are so afraid of dementia being like the way we go.
Same. I don't want Alzheimer's.
I don't either. I'm so afraid of that.
First of all, I'm really hopeful that the people who are aggressively fundraising and pushing science research, I want that to be fixed immediately.
Yeah.
We have to figure out Alzheimer's.
I agree.
It is
so cruel.
One of the cruelest ways, especially when you get it early. When the early onset, it's got to be one of the cruelest things I've ever seen.
We have a very, very dear friends that we've known for a very long time, and the husband just got diagnosed with that, and they are like in their 50s,
early
60s.
That's terrible.
It's awful,
and it's rare.
I guess it is rare.
They say it's rare.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't care about things being rare when it's happening to you.
Of course not.
You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't feel rare to you.
Right. You're like, well, this is my life.
Yeah.
So we are so
that's devastating.
Heartbreaking for them. Yeah.
I did hear that they have come through with some amazing advances with Parkinson's.
That drug that everybody's talking about, that all the celebs are taking for weight
Ozempic?
loss. Now they're saying that's like they're starting to research about it curing all kinds of shit.
Good.
Like, yeah, not only does it make you skinny, but it's like it's starting to heal a bunch of things that they had no idea.
Well, good.
Addiction. That's what they said was one of the number one things that they are finding, that alcoholics, drug addicts, people who've had addictive personalities are cured.
That is, do they have to be on it for life though?
I don't know.
Because
I'm sure it's got side effects. Yeah.
The thing that I've read about Ozempic specifically is that yes, you lose crazy amounts of weight, but that the second you get off of it, you gain it back. And it's not, they're like, well, you have to work, you have to exercise, you have to eat right, blah, blah, blah.
It's a lifestyle change.
This one girl, she goes, I was on Ozempic. I weighed, I was morbidly obese. And she was young. So her skin kind of came back. She didn't have like, when you're older, you have all these skin
looking
folds.
Like the elephant man.
Yes. So she looked great. And she goes, and I weighed, I was very healthy. I weighed the weight they said I should weigh. And they're like, I think you can come off of it now. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. What they don't tell you is that when you come off of it, your body goes, give me sugar now. And the thing is like, I don't know if when you have migraines, because I know you get migraines too, right before I get a migraine, I crave sugar like nobody's business. I can't not have sugar. And I usually try to eat fruit or something or juice or anything that's not candy or cookies or
refined sugar.
Yeah. Anything that's not refined sugar, I'll try to appease that. And sometimes it works. And then the next day I have a migraine from hell. And I don't know what that is. All I can relate it to, and I've told Daryl this, I go, your brain specifically needs fat. It needs carbs and fat to work. If you don't have it,
there's other kinds of fat you can use.
Well, like avocado and oils. Like they tell you if you're like quote unquote dieting or you're trying to reduce, you really need to have healthy fats because your brain needs it.
Yeah,
your brain will stop working well if you can't have that.
Well, our bodies are funny because they're not like people want to have everything has to be black and white for us.
I know,
but our bodies are so complex,
they're so nuanced.
They do that. They really need combinations of things in order to function and metabolize properly.
So what I'm wondering is if you get off of Ozempic, your brain is going, give me carbs now.
Yeah.
And our body thinks sugar when you think carbs because it's the fastest.
Mine thinks alcohol, but
that's a carb. That's
it is, and it also has sugar in it.
Yeah, it's a refined sugar.
Yeah.
So it's like immediately your brain is like, we need carbs. We've been starving. And you need to feed your brain immediately.
So whatever this drug is, if they're finding that it helps with addiction, it obviously is giving you that feeling that you need.
It's satiating something.
Yes, and so when you take it away,
your body goes, "Where is it?"
Yeah,
we're not satiated anymore. Yeah. So this one girl, she's like, "I gained 20 pounds in like a month and she goes, and I was eating right, I was exercising, I was doing all the things,
and I just gained
but my
weight.
body was still like, we're holding on to everything because you've been starving us for so long." Superficially, that it needs food to to survive now.
Yeah.
You can't not. And so it's a strange drug in that it's clearly some kind of miracle drug. But the fact is that you're not going to be that skinny when you get off of it. All these celebrities, when the skinny is in phase ends, they'll get off of it and they'll go back to their normal walking weight.
Well, I wouldn't mind taking it.
Dude, I want it. I know. But Lady Gaga, have you seen her? She is a rail.
She's taking it too, right?
Well,
yeah. I mean, everybody who's anybody in Hollywood right now is taking it.
Well, people are like,
Lizzo's going to be next.
No, she will not.
Why, you think she likes her weight because it's her part of her identity?
I think it's at this point, it's almost like she's stuck. Like she actually has lost weight.
She has.
She's lost a tremendous amount of weight.
Yeah, she has.
And she's still a bigger girl.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, you're trying to be skinny now," and she's like, "Fuck you guys! Like I need to lose weight. Like no one's never said that I'm fine." You know,
I mean, I feel beautiful in my skin no matter what. Well, but at the same time, I know I'm unhealthy.
Self-acceptance is key.
And I'm sorry, we've all seen the celebrities go through this where they start out with this whole, this is me, I am who I am. Yeah. And then they get a little bit of money and they're like, well, you know what? You could clean up your image a little bit. And all of a sudden they just start throwing money at the problem. And then the next thing you know.
Yes. I think the biggest.
Melissa McCartney.
I love Melissa McCarthy.
I love her too.
But she's still considered. I told Daryl, I said, I was reading a Reddit and somebody said, what is one thing in the Hollywood world of entertainment that is true or that no one thinks is true or something like that? And somebody said, cameras add 10 pounds. All cameras add 10 pounds. They just do. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then you meet someone and you go, holy crap, you are not nearly as big as I thought you were. Somebody said, I saw the outfit that Jennifer Lawrence wore for Hunger Games. It's so small. And you see her on TV or in movies, and she looks like a tall, fuller figured woman.
Okay.
I mean, she's not tiny, like.
No, I agree.
Thin looking.
No.
She looks shapely. She has a body, kind of. And then you see that uniform, you're like, this is for a child.
I know. Jamie.
They're so little.
When Khloe Kardashian was considered the fat sister,
oh my God.
She was a 6.
That's normal.
That's tiny. I couldn't fit a toe into a 6 now if I wanted to.
It is so small for an American.
It's tiny. Yes. It's little. And she was the fat one.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. And her sisters are like zeros.
Oh, well, Courtney actually looks 0. But it's like, I was reading this to Daryl and I said, first of all, we have so much amazing technology coming our way. Chat GPT, AI, all this stuff. I go, how come they haven't fixed cameras?
I know.
Why are they still adding 10 pounds?
God.
Why can't we fix that? Because do you know how many celebrities would be relieved to just be their walking weight?
Yeah, because they
not their working weight?
Right.
Like, can you imagine? Do you know how long they've been hungry?
Oh, forever.
And not to mention, do you know how many women like me and you try to achieve that look?
And it's impossible.
And you can't do it
because you want to starve. You want to live on air.
Well, not to mention the amount of surgery and lipo and drugs.
Well, who did I see the other
cigarettes.
day?
She's like, and they even said in this Reddit I was reading, they're like, you would not even want to know the amount of people that do coke and cigarettes to stay thin.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's the only way.
Yeah,
you
there's no other way.
You have to starve yourself like a bad, like criminally.
I know.
And like somebody said, she goes, who's the one girl? I really like her. The one actress. She has one brown eye and one blue eye, and she's blonde, and she's really, really tiny. And I cannot. She was in
Anne Hesh.
No,
she's dead.
She's passed.
Yeah.
No, she was in that movie that I really like, the surfing movie. She was the girl surfer.
Oh, Kate Bosworth.
I
love her.
She is so thin.
She's tiny.
And so, but somebody said, she walked by me and I was like, are you all right? You look ill. She's so thin.
I believe it.
And then I saw her on camera, like when they were doing a shot, and she looks normal.
Yeah.
And he was like mind blown. Like, this is crazy. He's
really
like, somebody goes, I met Angelina Jolie when she did Tomb Raider at like Comic-Con, and I kept staring at her legs because I'm like, how does she have a child's legs? She's so tiny, thin. And I'm like, that is not cool.
No,
that's not cool.
It's not.
And I bet if you met Lizzo, you'd be like, you're not as fat as I thought you were.
No, I'm sure she's not. She probably looks normal.
She probably looks like just a normal size 12.
You know who else looks really disgustingly thin is Sarah Jessica Parker.
She's so skinny.
She's so tiny and thin.
Yes.
Yeah. She's the epitome
If you met them
Hollywood.
in public, you go, I don't even want to stand next to you.
Yeah, they look like a cancer patient.
It's so crazy. I said that. I go, they look like chemo kids.
It's terrible.
It's crazy.
I couldn't live that life.
Anyway, I told Daryl, I said, I bet if you met Melissa McCarthy, you'd be like, you are literally a size 10.
Even the guys, even the dudes.
Oh my God.
They look whatever. They try to make them look healthy on film, but I bet you if you saw them in real life, they're like midgets. They're so small. Yeah, like Rob Lowe, he's been thin.
He's so small.
He's got to be.
He's so short and petite.
He's short and petite, and he's a health nut.
Do you know how many of those
eat?
All those hunky dudes you could probably put in your pocket?
I know, huh?
All these hotties.
That's probably why I'm attracted to like the
tall, skinny, strung out guys.
The Dwayne Rock Johnsons. And
those guys are huge.
They're huge. And like Sly Stallone.
You like the beefy dudes.
Yes, I like a man.
I
don't want a little.
You don't want a wafy, except for Voltaggio, of course.
Well, and I haven't seen him in real life though.
He's so thin.
So
like I said.
I know, and so every time I talk to you, I'm like, okay, well, there goes the dream.
I don't know. He's tall though.
Yeah, he is tall.
So you might like that.
But I've never really been into wafy guys. I do like thin guys. That's kind of my type.
If I can't wear his jeans, I'm not having sex with you. It's not happening. No. And I told that to Daryl when we first started dating. I'm like, if I can't fit into your pants, this is over. Because he's so thin.
I know.
When we met, he was so tiny. Luckily, I was able to wear his biggest baggy jeans.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I allowed it. But I'm with you. I don't like tiny, thin men.
I don't like them too. I've never really liked the guys I date are never beefy and husky, which is funny because the celebs that I crush on.
I wish I could say the same.
Well, you don't really. I don't know if you have a type. I've seen you date every kind of guy.
You are correct.
I have
I have a myriad of men.
No, not that you have a myriad of men, but just the men that I've known, and it's been so long since you dated anyone.
I was telling we went to a winery with Brad and his our brother and sister-in-law, and some other friends. There was like 8 of us, and it was really super fun. And at some point, the men and women separated, and it was this weird thing. And I told Daryl, I go, initially I used to hate that we would separate, but what I realized is all of us individually don't have friends that we hang out with all the time. Mm-hmm. And so when we get like-minded females together, we actually want to like talk about stuff that nobody talks about. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I said something, I'm like, yeah, guys, guess what? I'm almost in menopause. And they're like, oh my God, really? And they're like, oh my God, I get hot flashes. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No one talks about that.
No.
At work?
No.
Whatever, I mean,
no.
No. And somebody goes, oh, I have a great doctor if you want hormones. Like, I mean, who
could you have that conversation with outside of this group?
So then someone said something and I said, oh, I remember my hoe phase. And they're like, you didn't have a hoe phase. I'm like, really? You don't think? Okay, first of all, I had a hoe phase, and I am proud of my hoe phase.
Right, now we are. Yeah,
I'm fine with it. I was never ashamed. I was good with it. Now I wasn't on the street picking up people in bars. I'm like, but I had my hoe phase, and it was good. I go, thus my life today.
Well, I mean, a hoe phase is relative.
It is relative. Well, everybody's hoe phase is relative.
Depending on what a hoe phase to you and to somebody else, there might be two different things.
Truth. But I mean, I definitely was very happily.
You were just gonna,
I didn't have.
I did it too.
I was like a Samantha, but no. No, I wasn't. I was just somebody who I was not embarrassed or secretive about. Like I didn't go around getting laid tonight, nothing like that. But I was just like, yeah, sure, let's have sex because I mean I'm single and
I'm an adult.
I'm an adult and I can do whatever I want. That was my no shame part of it. But anyway,
we all have one.
Yeah, so I thought it was just really.
Well,
funny.
I hope we all have one.
You should. Every woman should have a hoe phase.
And now when we talk about like the girls at work and stuff, we talk about like. When somebody calls you whore, I'm like, I wish I was. I wish I was a whore.
I'd make more money for starters.
Well, not necessarily professional in that. You know what I mean? Yes. Just when you used to call someone a slut, it was like the worst thing you could call someone.
I know.
Now I'm like, yeah, I wish.
I wish I was a slut. Well,
yeah, I'm so not.
I could be a slut in my own house, I suppose.
Right.
But
just doesn't quite have the same thrill, but
I know. I told Daryl that. I'm like, I need to get slutty with you. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I'm feeling way too wifey lately. It's time to remind you. You're like, please stop talking. La, 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 la.
No, not at all. No, I know what you mean, but every time I get those ideas myself and then you act on them and then you're like, this is stupid.
I feel like I'm acting now.
It's dumb. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I'm getting so
The
old.
only other thing I will say about hanging out with other people that aren't my family is this. I really feel like I can't be my true self.
I know, huh?
I feel like I'm censoring myself constantly because sometimes I will get a little to myself and people will go, oh,
you're kind of weird.
Okay. For example, we met my daughter Mackenzie. She's been with her boyfriend for many years. She's getting ready to graduate, which means they will likely going to be an engagement and a wedding within the next year. So we thought, okay, fine, we'll meet his parents.
Probably a good idea.
So they came over for dinner a month ago.
Poor guys.
And, Mackenzie has been, prepping me for a long time. She's like, Mom, they're quiet. They are kind people. When they come to dinners, they don't discuss politics or death.
Okay.
So we need to moderate. We can be ourselves, but I don't want them to judge us.
Right.
And I'm like, I understand what you're saying. And I will try to be polite and have my best foot forward.
We can do that.
I can be parental and I can do the things.
I mean, you just have to pretend like it's kind of like how you are at work. There's a line that you have
I want them to feel comfortable. We're warm and generous hosts. I love hosting people. Everybody who comes always has a great time.
True.
So I just want to continue that. And if they're uncomfortable with loud and rowdy, we will keep it down to a dull roar. We are a very loud and rowdy family. We have a great time though. Everybody loves it. Anyway, so they came, met them. So kind and lovely. Aww. I can see why Ken is the way he is. Yeah. He's very quiet. He's very observational. They're very observational. I met his sister who's like really, really smart. Like really smart.
Oh, okay.
She's like Sheldon Cooper smart on Big Bang Theory smart. So I'm like, okay, cool.
I have a friend like that.
Love it. So they all came.
It can be intimidating though, but yes.
The brisket didn't turn out the way I wanted.
Oh, oops.
I hated it. And I mean, I didn't hate it. Like it
you were just annoyed.
I wanted
that it wasn't perfect.
And it wasn't. Yeah. And, and I gave Daryl so much shit about it. I'm like, it better be perfect. And it wasn't. And it's fine.
You're like, of all the time.
It's kind of my fault, I think, because I think I sabotaged it by getting in his head. So
I'm sure it tasted delicious, but I know what you mean.
But it was dry. Anyway, the beans helped.
One time.
And to this day.
That it matters.
Every once in a while I bring it up, I go, I think I want to do the brisket over again. He's like,
it's such a large piece of meat.
He goes, hard. It was a big piece of meat. It was the first time I've done it. And I'm like, I know.
Should never do anything the first time when you want to impress somebody.
100% agree. But anyway, everything was wonderful. And then I'm like, okay. I go, guys, because they're so quiet.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get to know them and stuff like that. Tyler, everybody was there. And we're all sitting around the dining table. And I go, okay. I look at Mackenzie. I go, since we can't talk about death or politics.
She's like, Mother?
She's all, what are you going to talk about? And I go, let's talk about our favorite movies. Top 3 movies, everyone. It was perfect. It created wonderful conversation. Okay, da, 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 da. So then, of course, now they leave. Everything's wonderful. So we have to get the report card. I'm like, what did they say about us? They loved us.
Of course they did.
They were enchanted. They were delighted. They can't wait to invite us to their house. And I'm like, see, you had nothing to worry about.
I knew that would happen.
They're from Berkeley, for God's sake. They're fine.
No one does not. I don't think we've ever introduced someone into our family that has ever said, I hate them.
No.
It
never
just doesn't happen.
No, because we're genuine.
The only time I can remember over the years is maybe someone who felt intimidated.
Sure.
If we weren't being as considerate as we should be, like you guys were.
Yes.
Right? Like you guys were, you made a conservative effort to try to make them feel comfortable and not just be like, ah!
Well, and I don't, eventually they're going to see it.
Of course. Sure. The wedding.
Probably.
We always have to tend to celebrate on weddings.
Whatever. It was great. And then later I was like, it just hit me. And I'm sure you felt this. You're like, God, these could potentially be like in-laws.
These are going to be our family.
This will be family. It blows your mind.
Well, you need to meet them more than once so that you feel more comfortable around them. So it's not weird.
But it was just so crazy. I'm like, oh my God, these human beings might be like a part of our lives.
Well, it's kind of weird that you haven't known them all these years, but
well, there was a little bit of a gap.
Absolutely.
And so I really wanted to make sure.
Of course.
Because we were talking about this because apparently, and maybe you know this, when your kids meet other kids, the parents want to meet for some reason. And they don't want to just meet. They want to have like a meal or something. Like play dates, anything. You know, they kind of want to like know you so they can find out, you know, are you a lunatic or are you normal? Yeah.
Well, it was right? It was interesting because, and it's different when you have, when your kids' parents are split.
Yes.
So like my daughter's wedding, we had, you know, it was because it was out of state and we were all traveling to go to the wedding, including her husband's parents.
Sure.
It was days, you know what I mean, that we spent together. And we did have a dinner prior to the wedding and I think after the wedding, you know, where we were just eating and being casual.
Right.
And I'm sure, but I felt like it sucked for me because unfortunately the only representation of my family was mother.
Yes.
And I had my young son at the time.
It was a weird time.
It was. And so it wasn't a great, like, this isn't really who I am. I act weird around my mom because she makes me so conservative.
She's so conservative. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel guilty about having a beer, you know, that kind of thing. Right, and so, and they were very much normal. Oh. Like, you know what I mean? And there was a lot of them, you know? It was his parents.
So it's intimidating.
Yeah, their parents and his grandparents were there. There were aunts and uncles there. And they were all just like having a fucking blast, you know what I mean? Because they were all together and they were partying.
Yes.
So, and then here I am with my mother, you know, and my son.
It's like I want a do-over so badly.
I really did.
Yeah. So with that being said, so apparently now it's very common, even if they're like just dating, to meet the parents and do the whole thing. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Why? I'm not going to invest my time and energy if I'm not going to know you in 6 months.
Yeah. I'm like, come on, man.
You can't be friends with every single person your kid dates.
Yeah. And they're like, and then what sucks, and somebody was saying, they're like, and what really sucks is that when they break up, you still like the mom. And you're like, what are we supposed to do now? Like, I mean, they hate each other.
I know, huh?
But we're adults, so we can be like, I'm still friends with one of my kids' ex's moms.
Okay.
Not active, like, hey, let's go have coffee.
It depends on who.
But, you know, we're friendly, and I'm happy for her. She has, you know, when she has wins or goods and bads, I mean, I'm all in. You know?
Like your son and I have become friends. I have become friends with his now exes a couple of times.
Oh yeah,
because I thought they were the one, right? You know what I mean? And then they weren't
the one. They're not.
And then the next one, I was like, okay, this is the one. I'm like, okay, and then they weren't.
I know you hate I hate getting invested. And so I told the kids, I said sweepingly, they were all here, and I said, listen to me, people. Do not bring your significant others over unless it's incredibly serious.
Right.
Do not bring. They're like, but we want you to meet them. I'm like, I don't want to meet them.
Right.
I go, you know how many people my mom met? 2.
Right.
The one that I thought I was going to marry and didn't, and then the one I actually married.
Right.
All the ones in between, no one ever met. No. I go, you all think I only had 2 boyfriends in my whole life? You're silly.
Wrong.
That's not the truth. Nobody met my boyfriends ever, unless I'm like, oh God, I think I might marry this one. Twice.
Other than that,
yeah. I'm like, can we just go back to that? Like, can we go back to like the 90s when we didn't tell our parents anything?
Unless it was something that was going to be a thing.
Yeah, like, Mom, I cut my arm off. I have to go to the hospital.
Well, yeah.
Like, other than that, I don't want to know.
Yeah, Mom did not meet. Mom only met 3 of my boyfriends, and I had many.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to. I don't know. Apparently,
1 I should have married, and 2 I did marry.
I guess we were just supposed to like, you know, evolve and be super involved. And I'm like, you're an adult. I don't want to meet your boyfriend.
No.
Or girlfriend.
No. Like you said.
I mean, I don't mind, but it's like,
I mean, it's one thing if they're coming to the door to pick up your child and they still live at home and they're an adult or whatever. And
do you know, Stephanie, how many boyfriends have come to my house for Thanksgiving that I never saw again?
Yes.
So many. And I'm like, God, all right, well, they ate my food and drank my wine and I don't even remember their name.
Right, totally.
They're like, well, they had nowhere to go.
God, my daughter is not one to do that. I swear, the only boy she ever brought home, she married. Well, I lied. There was one other boy I met and she was annoyed. I was like, oh, he's cute and everything. She's like, he's irritating. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Like, nice to meet you.
All he ever wants to do is make out. I'm over it. I was like, oh yeah,
he's just a hormone.
Get rid of him. And she did.
Good.
So
good for her. All right, let's do some ugly and awkward moments. Do you have one?
I do.
Let's hear it, girl.
So mine's at work, obviously, because I spend so much time
Your
at work.
whole life at work.
Yeah. So we're in a meeting with a bunch of executives as usual. And at the end of the meeting, one of the executives announces that the other one, who I've known both of them for a really long time, said that she's retiring.
Oh.
She has like 35 years with the county. And so it doesn't matter if it's a manager or a regular person. Everybody's always genuinely happy for someone who retires.
You made it!
Yes. Because we're all like, you did it.
Enjoy
like,
your pension!
35 years of being treated like shit.
That's a long haul,
It's
girl.
a long time.
Yes.
So I was genuinely happy for this person who was, she's been an adversary for me in certain meetings. But in this case, I was congratulating her. And I knew she's one of those people that I always knew she was very professional and she had the perfect game face in meetings. But I was like, you're a fun person.
Aww,
you're one of those people. Yeah. I'm like, you hold it together and you're brilliant at it.
Yes.
But I know that you're not really like this.
So
all
she's
the time.
better than we are at that
Probably,
stuff.
yeah. I mean, well, shit. She knew how to play the game at work.
Sure.
And be successful. So as we're getting ready to leave, I said, I'm really happy for you. Congratulations. I'm like, and you have X amount of years with the county. I can't imagine what you've had to go through to get to where you are. I'm like, but props to you. Enjoy your retirement. She's like, thank you. And she left. So afterwards, all these people that I'm with are like, were you suggesting that she slept her way to the top?
What?
And I'm like, what?
No.
Yes, that is literally how I responded. I'm like, why?
What?
They're like, well, it was the way you said it. It was so awkward. I'm like, okay, first of all,
What?
have we met? I am awkward.
I am the walking epitome of awkward.
I'm always awkward. I'm like, I think one of the reasons why I'm awkward is because I'm not afraid to just say something.
Yeah. Well, no.
Other people would be like, oh, it's inappropriate. We're in a business meeting. I'm like, I'm never going to see her again, ever in my life.
I'm going to say what I want.
She's literally going to not be a part of anything that I will ever be around.
And she's literally going to forget who I am.
100%.
And not care.
I'm like, but I always admired her.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I wanted her kind of to know that, hey, look.
So they're saying that your tone was inappropriate?
that I was suggesting that she had slept her way to the top.
So
and
now
I'm
did you feel the need to do what I would do?
immediately, I was like, I want to call her.
Oh no.
So I didn't do it. I ended up running it by a friend. They're like, don't leave that alone. She probably didn't think anything.
Thank
Those
God.
people were thinking something.
Maybe they thought she slept their way.
I don't know what they were thinking, or that their first thought was that
Yeah.
by me making that statement of, I can only imagine what you've had to do
my
to get to
God.
where you were.
Well, because she's a woman in a place
That's
where
how
it's like
I'm looking at it. I'm
Yeah.
like, these people just don't know me.
it's just
I think at the end of the day, that's what it came down to. They don't know me, and they don't know where my mind and my heart were coming from.
I am so glad that you didn't do what I would have immediately done.
I wanted to.
Which is immediately had emailed
Well, it's
her.
been a week, and I've still wanted to do it because I'm like, well, she retires
shit.
on June 6th. I still have time.
You could write her a card.
I've thought about it.
You could buy a card and just say, what I
have
meant
thought-
was, as women in an industry that's very aggressive, I was just saying that I know how hard you had to work to get where you were.
Thank you. And the other thing is when you
not what you had. It's the sacrifice. It's the shutting your mouth.
No
and
one
not
sleeps their way to the top, by the way, in government, unless you're in politics.
Exactly.
That doesn't happen. So, but here's the thing. When you are in government work, everybody gets treated like shit. I don't care if you're all the way at the tippy top.
Oh yeah, there's always
To
someone.
get to the tippy top, you were treated like shit, and you had to
Yes.
do things that you probably could hardly live with to make it there.
So you're still feeling awkward.
I am. So anyway, yeah.
Are you gonna? I know.
I'm not going to do anything about it. This is the way I look at it. Look, if they wanted to think a thing about me, that's fine.
Yeah.
Was relatively sure that she knew me long enough to know that I would never say something so inappropriate.
She has interacted with you enough to know what you meant.
Many times, hopefully. And even if she didn't know what I meant, she didn't think I meant that.
God,
I hope.
I wouldn't have thought that. If someone walked up to me, unless they pointed at me and said, I know what you had to do. That's
you.
different, obviously.
Good. So I will feel awkward about this for 6 months because you know how we are.
Yes. You'll wake up at night and go, oh my God,
I already have. It's been a week. I can't stop.
You're going to retell the conversation. You know what? Daryl has almost caught me twice talking to myself, replaying conversations. I was doing the dishes and I don't even remember what the conversation was, but you know what it is? Cause there was a couple of things that happened when we went to Bottle Rock when I was talking to Alicia, and I'm like, I really want to redo that. And there was another time where I felt like I was a little too ADHD about something. And I'm like, I bet they're sitting there quietly going, why is she talking like that? And in my brain, I know that they're probably like, she's a little weird, right? She's gotten weird in her old age.
No,
whatever.
Not in your old age, but we've always been a little.
Or they're
weird.
like, this is the most time we spent with her. God,
you know what sucks about us is that we're intelligent and we're articulate and we're funny, and then we do something where you're kind of like, oh,
it makes people cock their head like a dog.
Yeah,
and they go, okay,
well, and you're not all there, but that's perfectly normal.
There's that.
Usually, people who we're like savants.
We are idiot savants for sure. Hey, dumb idiots! Hi. Okay, here's my awkward moment. So we were at Bottle Rock, and it was getting chilly. And I was like, oh, I needed to put my coat on or something. And I always wear hoop earrings wherever I go. It's what I do. I'll be buried in them or burned in them, whatever.
Me too. And I didn't wear them here to see you today, but I felt awkward leaving the house.
I always have to have them in my ears. I have little teeny tiny ones, and even those I'm like, oh, they're all right. But I mean, I feel very conservative in these. I need big
church hoops.
Yeah, these are my church tongue hoops. So anyway, I was adjusting, and freaking the earring got stuck in a rando thread on my jacket. And wrenched my, I am sewn to my head is sewn to my jacket, and we're in the middle of Bottle Rock with like 1,000 people.
And I'm like, I can't move.
Like, my ear. And he's like, what? I'm like, I'm sewn to, I'm like jerking my head, kind of. And I'm like, I'm sewn to my jacket.
And you don't want to pull too hard because you don't want to yank it out of your ear.
Well, and then I didn't want to rip this, but the thread was a denim thread. It was going nowhere.
God.
I had to sew myself, and Daryl's like, I don't know how to help you. I'm like, just leave me alone. Just let me do it. I was like, oh my God. And, oh my God, I can't. And someone saw.
Of course. That's so funny. That
that's a story for someone who saw. Yeah. They get to see that and go, oh, there was this lady. Oh my God. She thought she was so cool. And then she sewed herself to her ear.
You cannot be cool even for one moment because nature will take its course and remind you that you are not cool.
We're the Jurassic Park of awkward.
God, I mean, my new shoes that you were complimenting me on, they're cute. They're lugs. But I have tripped probably a dozen times this week on the carpet at work.
Oh God, because they're luggy.
It's perfect, yeah. And so I'm like walking down, and it's always got to be when there's like 25 people, and right as you're approaching somebody, be like, "Good morning."
Yes. Oh my God, that's so funny and sad and true. Yeah. It's true. Anyway,
I'm like, I embrace it. Whatever.
Well, you do what you got to do, man. Yeah. I think that's the show. I got nothing going on. I'm sure,
Well, next time we come back,
remember
for the show,
we forgot to talk about blah, blah, blah.
Probably, but the next time we come back, we will be talking about, we'll do it in our Top Chef episode, but we'll be talking about the finale.
And we have to talk about the next show we're going to do a mini episode season on.
I certainly know you're not going to be watching the new Kardashians, which is dropped on Hulu.
I keep wanting to, but then I just... Why?
You'll hate it. I mean,
first of all, I want to be perfectly clear. I don't hate the Kardashians.
No, I know you don't.
I don't. I actually like the Kardashians. I
love hate them though.
I think it's a minimal. I think they're oversaturated.
Yeah.
And I really hate how obsessed they are with their weight. It bothers me.
Well, I mean, we were just talking about.
Yeah, it bothers me because.
They're not the only ones.
No, they're not.
They're not exclusive to that, but
and Kim has pulled some stupid shit lately that I don't like, but she's just a human being.
She is.
And I don't think anyone knows the shit she's going through having that insane ex-husband of hers.
Well, and that's the thing. I will say there's only been one episode that's dropped so far, and a lot of it was about Kanye.
I believe it. He's so unwell.
Crazy.
He's so unwell.
Yes.
So anyway, I think the reason why I don't dislike them as much as the general pop is because I know what it's like to have sisters, and I know how tumultuous it can be, and yet at the end of the day still love them. Yeah. And I watch that and I go, if we ever got our shit together, not me and you, but just collectively, because we are four of us.
Yeah.
If we collectively had our shit together, if we had a mom who was as supportive as their mom is, we would be the Kardashians. We would be like, absolutely.
And we've always said that.
And it's true.
There's just too much dysfunction in our family.
Unfortunately. And it takes a lot.
Yeah. Well, the stars just don't align for us. But,
there's the other difference though, is they're really fucking greedy.
Oh, they are.
And they
all have
wealthy.
that. They all have that
Yes.
in their horizon. So
And
I agree.
We aren't that superficial, unfortunately. I wish we were.
I think
but
if we
just
had
not.
the money, we would be. But I
don't know, man.
I don't think we'd be that superficial. But there is a scene that Courtney's always been the one.
She's the more real.
She is. And she even said,
she
she's like, look, she told Chloe, she said, we are really good at supporting each other and celebrating one another and being there for our kids and our other, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. She goes, but we're not good at like dealing with mess. She goes, when she gets real and there's something going on in your life, she goes, no, you just get totally introverted and I have no idea what's going on in your life. And then when it's over, you're back.
That's how we are. We're literally
and
like
I related with that because she was like, you know what, that's very true.
Yeah.
You know, we may not know that
we don't want the drama.
One of us is going through some drama.
Why are we like that? Because we are that way. In fact, it never fails. Like you and I had a falling out. This was many years ago. And we hadn't talked in probably a good year. And I ended up in the hospital. And your ass showed up. And we cried. And we're like, I love you. I hate that we didn't talk. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we're good at that. But when we have our own personal drama we don't want each other to know about, suddenly we're just like crickets.
I know.
And we don't know what's going on. And then suddenly you're like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, hey, where have you been? You're like, nothing. It's fine. Anyway.
Well, I think
and you move on.
Honestly, I think it's because it was our dynamic growing up you just, first of all, we were, and you and I have talked about this before because we've tried really hard not to be that way anymore. We were so critical of one another.
God, we were so mean.
And so judgy.
I was just thinking about when we were in
awful.
Yeah, we were in junior high and we used to call each other, I used to call you slut and you would call me ugly and fat.
Anything.
Then I was thinking about it now. I'm like, and we continued to get ready with each other in the bathroom. Like we did not, no one left.
We had to.
We just sat there and continued.
But I mean, that stuff to me is like, I'm talking about typical. Like when we got older, like our life choices, like,
oh my God,
you might have been dating someone or I might have been dating. And we were like, God, what is wrong with you? You're so fucking stupid. And we would literally hate you or each other for whatever choices that person was making.
Why we were like that.
Like, I can't know you as long as you're doing this.
I really wish that we could go back and just be like, do you, boo?
Too.
Like, who cares?
Or just take a different approach.
It doesn't affect us.
I love you and I will support you no matter what you do. I don't think this is healthy for you, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to know you.
And you know what sucks too is that even though we were super critical, we were still ride or die.
We were ride or die.
But it made it hard.
I just feel like there was a lot of loneliness because we're like, through hard times.
I know how they feel about this and I know they're not going to have any sympathy, so I'm not going to say anything.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. Yeah.
I know.
So that can be quite isolating.
And I don't tell you anything either.
No.
And I hate that. When I tell you something, you're like, holy shit, I had no idea. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry.
I know. And then it's like, why are we sorry though? Because I want to hear it and I want to be there for you and I don't want you to feel alone.
Because we both have lives and our lives are very insane.
That can be.
Yeah. And we just don't want to, I don't want to burden anyone.
I think, and that's funny because that's exactly what Chloe said. She said, I just don't want it to make your life anymore. I already know you're going through your own shit.
That's how I feel.
And she's like, so why am I going to burden you with mine?
Because sometimes it's a nice distraction.
And that's what she said. She's like, I don't care. She's like, your shit and my shit are there's a line.
I just think
it doesn't matter. It's not like you're piling on to me by telling me what's going on with you.
And I kind of feel like that is why I relate to the Kardashians. I don't relate to
the sister aspect only.
I only relate to them as sisters because they say and do and act the way we do, and so you wouldn't know it unless you had it. If you don't have a lot of sisters, you don't understand it, and you just look at them and go, "Look at these superficial bitches. They're whores." And I'm like, "Well, fine. Maybe they are."
Yeah, that part of it is absolutely true. But the fundamental part of them being sisters,
that doesn't change.
No, it doesn't.
And you can't make that up.
No,
And there's one girl that I've been hanging out with at these wine things and stuff. She has 4 sisters, and we relate in a way that I don't relate with anybody else. And she's a little younger than me, obviously, but I think she's not the oldest. She's your age. She's like your rank. She's like second oldest, or you know what I mean?
Second oldest.
Yeah. And so, but when we talk, I totally understand. And she misses her sisters desperately.
Why does she?
Because they all live somewhere else.
Oh yeah.
They're not lucky. She has sisters all over the country.
Well, I mean, and the thing is we are lucky in the sense that demographically we all live close together.
I know.
But when was the last time we saw 2 of the 4 of us?
Well, I just think, I was thinking about this actually.
We live 15 minutes away.
I was thinking about this morning, and I think the one thing that we as the 4 of us respect is that, first of all, we're all very different, but when we're going through a significant life event or life change, when we're trying to figure our shit out,
process.
That's what it is. You know, we have some siblings right now who are literally changing their lives.
Yeah, I agree.
In whatever way. And they just can't we're a lot when the four of us are together. It's a lot. And I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, the way that I don't know about you, but
I just poked myself. I was trying to rub my nose because it itched, and then I went.
Every orifice of my body is itching right now.
God,
I swear to God, my allergies are just.
Oh my God!
That's why I keep doing these weird blinks because my eyes itch, and I'm like, I'm not going to itch them.
My oho,
because my oho hurts.
It hurts so bad. I hit my knuckle, and I'm like, God, we're being serious. I'm like, just kidding.
We needed that.
Jesus.
Oh my God. Well, anyway.
All right. Well, that's the show. Well, there you go. Deep dive on sisterhood.
Yeah.
Take it for what it will.
Right.
I think there's some people that understand. And if you don't, we'll be your sisters. You can listen
that's
to us.
true.
We'll talk to you. You just tell us what you want to know.
This isn't how all sisters are, though.
I don't know.
I mean, I hope they are.
Maybe. I hope so too, actually.
My friends, I have two besties, and they both have a sister.
Yeah.
Like, only one.
Okay.
But they do remind, although we're all culturally different and like different, but we do, when they talk about their sisters, it's very much like when we, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we do have that in common. There's just something about a sister.
I know.
I don't know what it is.
I love it. Apparently younger sisters are better. Whatever.
Is that what they say?
I don't know. It was a comedian. She's like, I think the younger sisters are better, and I'll always be younger than my sister. And I'm like, oh, stop. So true. Anyway, all right, bye.
Bye.